Our topic is application of solar photovoltaic cells in households. Our group members are Mayur Pawar, Shravani Porje, Rohan Rathod, Ikira Sheikh, Arya Shevare, and I am Raksha Pawar. The subject is guided by Joshi sir. So, firstly, we'll start with introduction. Introduction includes construction and working of photovoltaic cell. When light shines on photovoltaic cell, also called a solar cell, that light may be reflected, absorbed, or pass right through the cell. The PV cell is composed of semiconductor material. The semi means that it can conduct electricity better than an insulator, but not as well as a good conductor like a metal. When the semiconductor is exposed to the light, it absorbs the light energy and transfers it to the negatively charged particles in the material called electrons. The next part will be explained by Mayur.
Hello everyone, myself Mayur Ravindra Pawar. I am the student of first year computer engineering and I am studying in KBT College of Engineering Nasik. Today we are going to explain you the topic named as application of solar photovoltaic cells in households. Let's see. From this topic I am going to explain you the small part of solar PV cells. First of all, we will overview the topic. Let's see what is there in overview. Solar energy is the good resource and clean energy to be used by people. Nowadays, most of the countries are developing solar energy because solar energy is the renewable type of energy. That's why in day-to-day life, we can see solar energy is used in the form of water heaters, calculator, traffic light, solar electric vehicle charging, etc. These are some appliances where the solar energy is used. Nowadays, development of solar energy and solar energy in households are increased because solar energy is of the never ending type of energy and it is also called as a sustainable resources. That's why nowadays development of solar energy is faster. This was the overview of the topic. Let's move forward. There's the question may arise in your mind that the how solar PV cells in households are used. Let's see the answer for the question. Before seeing the answer, there's the diagram of the solar panel. That diagram shows that the how the solar panels are work. Solar cells are used to generate electricity from sunlight, and that electricity which is obtained from the PV cells can be used to operate various appliances that may be light, refrigerator, fan, television, etc. Now there are some steps to use solar PV cells in households. Now see what are that steps. Step number 1. Step number 1 is of the installation. Solar panels are installed on the roof of the home and the panels are connected in the series. Then the question may arise in your mind that the why they are connected in series. Because by connecting in series it forms solar array. Then the electricity produces. Then the step number 2. Step number 2 of the inverter installation. Inverter should be installed in the home for converting the direct current electricity coming from solar panel to the alternating current electricity, and then only the electricity can be used from the for the home appliances because if the because of the home appliances requires less voltage of power, that's why it only requires the alternating current electricity. And inverter installation is the most important step in the solar PV cells used. Then the step number 3, connection to the grid. A grid connection means the connection between the PV system and the relevant distribution network governed by the connection agreement. And the electricity produced by the solar PV cells are sold back to the utility company and that can be utilized by the government company. Step number 4. Step number 4 is of the monitoring. Monitoring is done of PV system for checking the proper production of electricity as expected and also to check if any problem in the system or not. That is the most important step in the use of solar PV cells, and using the solar PV cells are nowadays contributing to a more sustainable future. That means it will helpful for the future generation. Hope so you could understand my topic. Thanks for watching me. Now further part will explain by my team member Shravani Porje.
Hello everyone, myself Shravani Porje. Our topic is solar PV cells in households. So today I will explain you about how do solar PV modules work and some of the advantages of solar PV cell. Let's see. How do solar PV modules work? As you can see in the diagram, we can see solar panels. These solar panels generate DC electricity from sunlight, which is then fed through an inverter to convert it into AC electricity. Solar PV system use cells to convert sunlight into electricity. The PV cell consists of one or two layers of semiconducting material, usually silicon. A single PV cell is usually manufactured in 12.5 cm and 15 cm square sizes and generates only 1 or 2 watts of power. Solar PV modules are used for boosting the power output of PV cells by connecting them. When light shines on the cell, it creates an electric field across the layers, causing electricity to flow. PV cells are referred to in terms of amount of energy they generate in full sunlight, known as kilowatt peak or kWp. When PV cells present in the photons of light is transferred to the semiconductor material, the electrons are made to flow through the semiconductor material as electric current. Generally, each solar PV modules is rated in the range of 50 watt to 350 watt. Next is advantages of solar photovoltaic cells in households. Solar PV cells have become an increasingly popular option for households looking to generate their own electricity. Here are some advantages to consider. First advantage is renewable energy source. Solar PV cells produce electricity using sunlight, which is a renewable and abundant energy source. This means that households can reduce their reliance on non-renewable energy sources such as fossil fuels. Second advantage is lower electricity bill. By generating their own electricity, households can reduce their reliance on the grid and potentially lower their electric bills. Third advantage is reduced carbon footprint. Solar PV systems do not produce any greenhouse gas emission, which can help to reduce a household's carbon footprint. Carbon footprint is nothing but a measure of amount of carbon dioxide released into atmosphere as a result of activities of an individual. Next part, that is disadvantages, will be explained by my team member Ikra. Thank you.
Disadvantages of solar photovoltaic cells in household. Weather dependence. The amount of electricity that a solar PV system produces is dependent on the amount of sunlight it receives. In areas with less sunlight, the system may not produce enough electricity to meet a household need. Space requirements. Solar PV system require a significant amount of roof space to install the panels. In some cases, a household may not have enough roof space to accommodate the panel. Battery storage. To make the most of the solar energy, household need to store excess electricity in batteries. However, batteries can be expensive and take up space. Installation issues. Installing a solar PV system can be complicated and household may need a professional to complete the installation, and this can add to the overall cost of the system. Why solar PV cells in household are used? Solar PV cells in households are used as a way to generate electricity from renewable energy source. They are typically installed on a roof or a nearby ground mounted system to capture sunlight and convert it into electricity. There are several benefits to using solar PV cells in household. First, solar energy is a clean and renewable source of energy, which means that it does not produce harmful emissions or contribute to climate change. Second, solar PV system can help homeowners to save money on their electricity bills, especially if they live in areas with high electricity rates or electricity is not readily available. Third, solar PV system can increase the value of a home. There are some potential drawbacks to using solar PV cells in household. The initial installation cost can be relatively high, and this cost can decrease significantly over the past decade. In addition, solar PV system cannot be as effective in area with limited sunlight or where weather conditions are frequently overcast or rainy. Overall, solar PV cell in household are used to provide a clean, renewable, and cost-effective source of electricity for homes. They can help reduce reliance on fossil fuels, save money on electricity bills, and increase the value of the home.
Myself, Arya Shivare. As we have already seen about working, advantages and disadvantages of PV cell, now let us see about applications of it. Applications. Solar PV cells can be installed on rooftop, canal tops and at offshores. They can be ground mounted and floating so as to capture more sunlight. PV cells can be used in solar farms. This is not only helps in reducing the power consumption from the electricity supply but also saves money. Many acres of PV panels can provide utility scale power from tens of megawatts. It can be used for water and space heating or can be stored in batteries to use later. Remote location. In remote location where electric wires cannot reach, solar PV cells can be used for domestic purposes and in lighthouses, offshore platforms, etc. Standalone power. In urban or remote areas, PV can power stand-alone devices, tools and meters. PV can meet the needs of electricity of parking meters, temporary traffic signs, emergency phones, radio transmitters, water irrigation pumps, stream flow gauge, remote guard post, and many more. Solar PV cell can also be used as power in space. From the beginning, PV has been a primary source of Earth orbiting satellites. High efficiency PV has supplied power for ventures such as international space stations and surface rovers on the moons and Mars, and it will continue to be an integral part of space and planetary exploration. Building related needs. In buildings, PV panels mounted on roofs or ground can supply electricity. PV material can also be integrated into a building structures as windows, roof tiles or cladding to serve a dual purpose. In addition, to parking structures and can be covered with PV to provide shading and power. Military uses. Lightweight, flexible, thin film PV can serve application in which portability are critical. Soldiers can carry lightweight PV for charging electronic equipments in the field or at remote bases. Transportation. PV can provide auxiliary power for vehicles such as cars and boats. Automobile sunroof can include PV for onboard power needs or trickle charging batteries. Lightweight PV also conform to the shape of airplane wings and help power high altitude aircraft. The next part will be explained by my another teammate Rohan.
Hello everyone, myself Rohan Saida Sathur. I am going to conclude our topic application of solar photovoltaic cell in households. Let's see the conclusion. The use of a power electronic appliance while not polluting the environment. Our goal is to learn how solar energy works and in which the situation it can be used. The solar photovoltaic has more benefit for society than just generating electricity from the sun. We have the obligation the photovoltaic community not only to further improve the technical side of it, put the advocate and ambassador to spread the news about the job and local wealth creation potential of the clean energy in technology. The important task now to spread the message and the muscle public support because the solar photovoltaic still has a long way to go grow until all. Now we move to the next conclusion. Photovoltaic cell converts solar energy into electrical energy. All through complex PV cell remains the approximately 20% efficiency and the very expensive. Different materials are the structure can be influenced the efficiency of the cell. Several factors that need to be to improve the anti-reflective, compositional uniformly and band gap to the material. Thank you for watching us. Stay healthy, stay happy. Goodbye.